Okay, so let's dive into one of the most popular fish in the entire aquarium hobby, the brilliant, the dazzling, the Neon Tetra. I mean, they're like a living jewel in tanks all over the world. But behind that tiny, colorful exterior lies this really surprising and fascinating secret. Actually breeding them yourself? Well, that's one of the biggest challenges a hobbyist can ever take on, and it is so easy to see why. As Dr. Indira Saharan puts it, they really are living jewels. That shimmering blue and red stripe, it's just iconic. But here's the thing, that beauty is also a clue. It points to their very specific and, let me tell you, very demanding nature. So you have to remember where these guys come from. In the wild, neons are found in the dark, super acidic blackwater streams of the Amazon basin. They live under this dense forest canopy where almost no light gets through to the water. And even though most neons you see in stores are captive bred now on these massive fish farms, their entire biology, it's still hardwired to that dark, wild Amazonian heritage. That right there, that's the key.
Because getting them to spawn in your home aquarium, that's a whole different ballgame. It's famously, almost notoriously difficult. It's this puzzle that has stumped even really experienced fish keepers for decades.
Okay, so before we even think about trying to crack this code, we first need to know exactly who we're dealing with.
All right, first things first. You have to be able to tell the difference between the males and the females. It's subtle for sure, but once you know what to look for, you can't miss it. The male is generally a bit smaller and slimmer, and his blue stripe is like a perfectly straight, laser-like line. The female, on the other hand, is usually a little plumper, with a rounder belly. And because she's rounder, it can actually make her blue stripe look like it has a slight bend or curve in the middle.
So you've got your males and females separated. Sounds easy enough, right? Ha! Well, this is where the real challenge kicks in.
And look, this isn't just a problem for beginners. Just take a look at this quote from a Reddit user, someone who calls themselves an advanced fish keeper. They took on the challenge, and after all that effort, the conclusion was just simple and, well, frustrating. No, I never did get them to breed. And trust me, that feeling, it's incredibly common.
And this isn't just talk on some internet forum. A 2023 scientific study on this very species says it plainly right in the conclusion. Breeding of Neon Tetras is a challenging task. So yeah, even the scientists are confirming that this is legitimately tough.
So what is it? What makes breeding this tiny, super common fish such a monumental undertaking? What is the big secret?
Well, it really all boils down to three major hurdles. First, the water. They need water conditions so incredibly specific that your tap water isn't even in the same ballpark. Second, light. The eggs and the brand new baby fish, the fry, are so sensitive to it that a normally lit room can actually kill them. And the third hurdle, this one is just cruel irony. The parents have this awful habit of turning around and immediately eating their own eggs.
But, and this is a big but, despite all those hurdles, it is possible. Hobbyists, scientists, they have cracked the code. It all just comes down to precision, patience, and a whole lot of dedication.
And here's where that precision comes in. To get them to spawn, you have to perfectly recreate those Amazonian blackwater streams in a tank. That means you need extremely soft, acidic water. We're talking a pH down between 5 and 6 and a water hardness, or DGH, of just 1 to 2. To put that in perspective, that is basically as soft as pure rainwater, and it's a world away from what comes out of most of our taps. On top of that, the temperature needs to be rock solid, somewhere between 75 and 82 degrees Fahrenheit.
And let's be clear, you are not doing this in your main community tank. No way. Success requires a separate, dedicated breeding aquarium. And to deal with that light sensitivity problem, breeders will often tape black paper to the back and sides of the tank, creating this dim, secure environment that signals to the fish, okay, it's safe now, it's time.
All right, so you've set the stage. The water's perfect. The lights are low. Now you wait for the main event, the incredible spawning ritual itself.
If you got the conditions just right, you'll see it. It usually happens early in the morning, maybe as the dim light first hits the tank. The male starts this fascinating courtship dance. He performs this series of jerky, almost square-like motions to try and impress the female. It's really something to see.
Now, if his dance works, the female will scatter her eggs, usually all over some fine-leaved plants or a spawning mop. And the potential payoff here is huge. A single, healthy female can lay up to 130
tiny transparent eggs. So you've done it. You see the eggs. Success. You're celebrating. But hold on, there is a huge problem, and it's happening right now. The second that spawning is finished, the parents' instincts just completely flip. They go from creation mode to consumption mode, and they will immediately turn around and start gobbling up every single egg they just worked so hard to create. It's a brutal twist.
So this means your job is not over when the eggs appear. After all that work preparing the dark, acidic tank and conditioning the parents, you have to watch the spawning happen. And then you have to perform the most critical step of all. You must remove the adult fish from that tank immediately. Their job is done. Their presence is now a direct threat.
Okay, the parents are out. You can take a deep breath, but you're not done yet. Not even close. Now comes the challenge of raising the incredibly fragile next generation. The first month is just this high-stakes, delicate journey. The eggs will hatch in about a day, but these tiny fry are still extremely sensitive to any light. For the first few days, they're fine. They just feed on their yolk sac. But then they need their first meal, and it has to be microscopic organisms called infusoria. After about a week, they can graduate to baby brine shrimp. And then finally, at around 1 month old, you get the ultimate reward for all your effort. That iconic, brilliant blue and red stripe begins to appear.
But I gotta give you a reality check here. Even if you do everything absolutely perfectly, nature is tough. Scientific studies show that even under ideal lab conditions, the hatch rate is often only around 55%. It's just a reminder that this whole process is incredibly delicate, and a lot of eggs, well, they just won't be viable, no matter what you do.
And that really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, given the immense difficulty, the level of precision needed, and the high chance of failure, you have to ask yourself, what's the real prize here? Maybe it's not just about making more fish. Maybe the real win is that profound satisfaction you get from taking on the challenge, from patiently learning the process, and from finally unlocking one of nature's tiniest, most beautiful, and intricate secrets. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.